Milk isn't the calcium champion you were told it was. That single belief has shaped grocery lists, school lunch programs, and doctors' advice for generations, and it's incomplete. If you're lactose intolerant, avoiding dairy, or simply drink milk out of habit rather than choice, you've likely assumed your bones are getting shortchanged. They're not. There are foods sitting in ordinary kitchens right now that deliver more calcium than milk, gram for gram, and most people have never once considered them a bone health strategy. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which 5 foods outperform milk, why the number on the label isn't the number your body actually uses, and how to combine these foods so your skeleton gets more protection than a glass of milk alone could ever provide. Start with the baseline everyone compares to. 1 cup of cow's milk contains somewhere between 276 and 352 milligrams of calcium, depending on whether it's whole or non-fat. That's respectable. It is not, however, the ceiling most people assume it is. Milk's reputation was built less on nutritional superiority and more on convenience. It was the easiest calcium source to stock, pour, and market for most of the last century. Easy to find and nutritionally best are 2 different things, and the gap between them is where this list begins. The first food that quietly beats milk is sesame seeds. Raw, unhulled sesame seeds contain close to 1,000 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams, nearly 3 times what the same weight of milk provides. Even a single tablespoon delivers close to 90 milligrams, which adds up quickly if you're sprinkling them over rice, blending them into tahini, or stirring them into a stir-fry. But here's the detail. Almost every article skips. Sesame seeds contain oxalates and phytates, compounds that bind to calcium and block part of it from being absorbed. The raw number looks impressive on paper. The number your body actually uses is smaller. Soaking, roasting, or grinding sesame seeds into paste the process behind tahini breaks down those blocking compounds and meaningfully improves absorption. So, someone stirring tahini into their weekly meals is walking away with far more usable calcium than someone letting a jar of whole seeds sit untouched in the pantry. Total calcium and absorbed calcium are not the same number, and that single distinction is about to matter for everything else on this list. Next is sardines, and this is the one that tends to surprise people the most. 100 grams of sardines, eaten with their soft edible bones, contains roughly 380 milligrams of calcium already ahead of milk. But sardines have something sesame seeds don't. No oxalate problem standing in the way. Their calcium arrives in a form the body absorbs efficiently, much like the calcium in dairy. Alongside it comes a serious dose of omega-3 fatty acids and high-quality protein. And omega-3s do more than support your heart. They're linked to lower inflammation, which plays a role in long-term joint and bone health as well. The reason sardines don't get more credit is almost entirely cultural. They're not a breakfast staple in most households, and the idea of eating fish bones sounds unappealing before you realize those bones are so soft you won't even notice them. A single tin, eaten once or twice a week, is quietly doing more for your skeleton than a bowl of cereal drowned in milk. Third is chia seeds, a food most people already associate with fiber and omega-3s, but rarely with minerals. 100 grams of chia seeds contains around 630 milligrams of calcium, more than double the amount in the same weight of milk. Here's where it's worth pausing, because this is where marketing usually oversells the truth. Nobody eats 100 grams of chia seeds in one sitting. A realistic daily serving a tablespoon or 2, stirred into yogurt, oatmeal, or water, lands closer to 60 or 70 milligrams. That's still meaningful. It just means chia works as a long-term habit, not a one-time fix. Add it consistently for a few months, and the contribution compounds, alongside the fiber that supports digestion and the omega-3s that support your heart. The mistake is expecting a spoonful of seeds to replace an entire food group overnight. It won't. Stacked with other sources across your week, though, it earns its spot on this list. Fourth is collard greens, and this is where absorption changes the entire comparison. Cooked collard greens provide about 268 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams, close to milk's number, but with one critical advantage. Collard greens are naturally low in oxalates. the same compounds that limit absorption in sesame seeds and notably in spinach. That means your body can absorb a higher percentage of the calcium sitting inside collard greens than it can from many other plant foods in some comparisons, even more efficiently than the calcium in milk. Spinach gets recommended constantly for bone health, but spinach is loaded with oxalates, so most of that celebrated calcium simply passes through the body unused. Collard greens don't carry that limitation. A side of sautéed collards a few times a week does more for your skeleton than most people assume. And it arrives with vitamin K, a nutrient that plays a direct role in bone mineral density. The fifth food is tofu, but only a specific kind. And this detail gets left out of nearly every article written on the subject. Calcium-set tofu, made using calcium sulfate as its coagulant, can contain around 350 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams, putting it comfortably ahead of milk. Because that calcium is added in soluble form during processing, your body absorbs it well, at a rate similar to dairy. The problem is that not all tofu is made this way. Some brands use magnesium-based coagulants instead, which create a smoother texture, but skip the calcium boost entirely. The only way to know which one you're buying is to check the ingredient label for calcium sulfate. Skip that step, and you might be eating tofu for its protein while assuming a calcium benefit that was never actually there. So why does milk still dominate the conversation if 5 ordinary foods can match or beat it? Habit plays a role. So does a food supply built around dairy for over a century. And so does simplicity milk requires no soaking, no label reading, no thinking about oxalates. But simplicity was never the same thing as superiority. Bone density naturally begins declining in your 30s and continues from there, which makes variety more protective than relying on a single source. Pairing a food like collard greens, which absorbs efficiently, with sardines, which deliver both calcium and the vitamin D your body needs to actually use it, closes gaps that milk alone leaves open. That vitamin D piece is the one almost everyone forgets. Without enough of it, your body struggles to move calcium from your gut into your bones, no matter how much of it lands on your plate. None of this makes milk a bad choice. If you tolerate dairy well and enjoy drinking it, it remains a convenient, well-absorbed source of calcium. But if you've been told it's your only real option, or automatically your best one, that claim doesn't hold up under closer inspection. Sesame seeds, sardines, chia seeds, collard greens, and calcium-set tofu each outperform milk on paper, and several outperform it in real absorbed terms too. The real strategy was never about finding one winner to replace milk with. It's about rotating through these sources across your week and pairing them with enough vitamin D from sunlight, food, or a supplement if needed, so your body can actually use what you're feeding it. Strong bones were never built by one perfect food sitting in your fridge. They're built by consistently giving your body the right materials from more directions than a single carton could ever offer.